Hi YouTubers, welcome to my channel. My name is Yvonne and today I wanted to do a quick video with you concerning Sisterlocks and what I wish someone had told me before I got Sisterlocks. Now, quick thing, if you can tell, I do have braces, so if I sound a little funny, my mouth looks like I'm talking crazy, it's because it would be a week tomorrow for me having Sisterlocks. Excuse me, me having braces, and I'm still trying to get used to them, so just bear with me. But back to the video. I just wanted to discuss a couple things because I think it would be very helpful for you guys to just know some of these quick tips and things that I learned, because for me, I learned them birth through trial and error. Like, it happened and then I researched it and found out it was a thing, but I had no clue about it. So hopefully this will help you guys out. Now, first thing I want to tell you is I love my Sisterlocks. I think it is the best hair decision I have ever made. I wish I had done it sooner. It has been a life-changing experience for me, especially for my hair texture and the fact that I'm so physically active. This has been like the best hair decision for me. So if you guys are thinking about Sisterlocks, this is why I did the video, and I hope you enjoy it and that you can get something from it and then take some good tips. Now, my first thing for you would be about, of course, finding a good loctician, which they all have said that. Make sure you research your locticians, look at their pictures, make sure that it's somebody that you feel can do a good job. Of course, talk to them, all those things. But for me, I wish that I had found a person who knew not only about locks or Sisterlocks, but also about healthy hair as well, or more like a cosmetologist. I wish I had those two hand in hand. Doesn't mean that if you don't have that, you won't find somebody who can do a good job, but just for me, I would have liked to have somebody who knew about good healthy hair as well as good healthy locks and have brought those two together. So that was just something from me that I'm just throwing in there. But once again, it doesn't mean that you can't have good locks if you don't find somebody who is not a licensed cosmetologist. But I would have liked to have somebody that could do both, knew both of those. The next thing that I would tell you is learn your rotation. I didn't actually learn about my rotation. I was already more than a year in, and I wished I had known what it was earlier. So find out what it is. And all a rotation is for you guys is that it's the technique that they use on your hair to lock your hair. So I have in my hair what they call a 3-point rotation. So if you're with your loctician and you're going in for your first appointment, they do your test of locks, and then you come back to sit down to actually do the install, talk with them before they start doing your hair and find out, well, what rotation are you putting on my hair and why? So you understand why you're getting what you're getting and why you're getting it. And I think that makes just helps keep you more informed about your hair, because this is as we all know, Sisterlocks is a huge investment. So you should know through the process what you're getting and why you're getting done what you're getting done, because this is going to be important. I'll tell you a little bit more about why it's important to know your rotation as we get further along in the video. Another thing that I wish that I had known earlier was the 4 stages of the locking process. And I think had I known this, I would have been a little bit more calm about the stages that I was in. And of course, so once again, I didn't learn about the stages of the locking process until I think I was at least a year into the process, and I'm 19 months locked now. So I think that would have really been beneficial to me. And I will also leave in the description box a link for you, so you can just kind of look at it and see what the stages are for your hair, because I think that would just kind of help you. So if you look at your hair, if it's just not doing quite what you want it to do, you like, oh my goodness, everything was fine, and then, you know, I don't understand what's going on now. You can kind of look in the stages and see where you are, and you can go, okay, I see where I am, and you can kind of calm down and combat, you know, what stage you're in. I think that would have helped me a lot if I had known that up front. And the reason I also say that is because these locking stages, some of them have where you might have to deal with frizz in that particular stage. Now, some people are good. They never have to deal with frizz. That is great. I wish I was one of them. I'm not. So because I didn't really know about the locking stages. I'm having a hard time trying to figure out now because I'm trying to do a lot of research to figure out, because some people, they never have to deal with frizz. Some people only have to deal with frizz in a certain stage of the locking process, whereas some people, which could possibly be me, you may have to deal with frizz the entire time that you have locks, just based off your hair texture. So trying to figure that out. Or you could have frizz because your hair is damaged. So trying to figure out where you are, for me, is a hard thing that I'm having to kind of learn how to do now. Okay, is it because it's my hair damaged? Is it because I'm just in a certain stage in the locking process? Or is this something that I'm going to have to just deal with the entire time that I have locks, and learning how to deal with the frizz? So I think those things help you out as well, because when I first started with my Sisterlocks, I really didn't have any frizz. But as I got further along, I'm starting to have some frizz now. So I don't know for sure if it's just a stage that I'm in, or if it's just damaged, or just because I'm further along in the locking process, this is just my hair texture. This is just the way that it's going to be. So I'll keep you guys posted on that as well. But I'm just giving you some nuggets so you can have these things for yourself and can, make a good informed decision about where you are. Another thing that I would like to tell you guys is knowing also the different stages that your hair may go in, as far as when, of course, you first start out with Sisterlocks, you need to listen to what they tell you to do, because the whole point is you want your hair to lock, of course. So follow. They tell you don't put any oils in your hair. Don't put any oils in your hair. Don't use conditioners. Try to keep everything to a minimum and follow directions the way that you should. But now that I'm in month 19, I have a little bit more freedom about the things that I can do. So I can put a little bit more oil on my scalp now, especially because I do work out a lot. I sweat a lot, and so my scalp gets very dry. So I can get away with putting a little bit of product on my scalp now, because my hair is pretty much all the way locked. So I don't have some of those issues. The only issues I have, which most people have, is on the perimeter, where you still have some slippage, as they would say, because just daily activities that you do. Now, when I say slippage, that means that your hair can come unloose. And if you have slippage, that could equal more money that you have to pay when you go to get your retie. So let's take a look here. If you have a lock, like right here, and if it's pretty much all the way to the root, let's say it's everything you've gotten a retie is good and it's all the way to the root. Now, if you start putting oils and things on your scalp, conditioners, things that they tell you not to do, what could happen is your hair could begin to slip or unravel or become unloose. And so let's say you had this much slippage on your lock. So when you get ready to go back to your you go back to your loctician, what happens is, if you have a lot of that going on, a lot of slippage in your hair, it takes the stylist a longer time to do your hair. So this is another thing that you need to consider, that once you get your install done, you pay that amount of money, you have to go back every 4 to 8 weeks to get a retie done. So for some stylists, it could be a set fee. They may only charge you $100 to get your hair done the entire time. A lot of stylists charge you a set fee for a certain period of time, meaning you pay $100 the first 2 hours. Every additional hour after that, they charge you an extra $25. I'm just giving an example. All these fees could be different. So if you go into the chair and she tell you your first hour is $100, and your first 2 hours are $100, and now you have to sit in the chair an additional 2 or 3 hours, you could $150, $175 you may have to pay because of slippage. So that's why I tell you, definitely at the beginning stages, listen and do what they tell you to do, because if you start to have slippage, it's going to cost you more money to have to sit in the chair and get that done. So just also make sure that you verify those things as well when you get in Sisterlocks. How much does it cost to get a retie? Make sure you know that. Make sure you know exactly when you're supposed to go back and get your retie, because some locticians want it to be where you come back every 6 weeks, and if you're past the 6 weeks, you automatically may get charged an additional say $25 or $50 if you go past your 6 weeks. So just make sure that you are aware of all these things going into the process, so you can budget, because like I said, it can get pricey if you're not understanding, because it is an investment and it can get expensive. So look at those things as well. Another thing that I wish I had learned, and I didn't know this, because sometimes you don't know what you don't know. You don't know what questions you need to ask because you don't know there's an issue. And especially coming from loose hair to locks, is going to be some differences. And one of the things that was different for me that I didn't know about was lint. Lint. Now, I didn't have a problem with it at the beginning stages of my locks. I was good all the way up into a year. But now in month 19, I started to see lint. And once I did my research, I found out that anybody in the lock community, if you have locks, you have to deal with lint. It's something you have to deal with. And I wish I had known it sooner, because had I known that, I could have combated sooner. So I washed my hair one day, and I just went in the mirror and pulled my hair up, because I was looking at doing a loose hairstyle or updo hairstyle, and I just saw that on the nape of my neck I had like, look, these little teeny just white dots in my hair, and I kept going, what is this? And I couldn't get them out. As much as I tried to mess with it, I tried to rewash my hair, it would not come out. And so I started doing research and found out for people it could be lint or product buildup. Look, well, mine was lint. I tried to get it out, I couldn't. So what I found out is, if you don't try to combat that early, the lint gets embedded into the lock, and sometimes it's hard to get out. Some people use tweezers to get the lint out. Some people use dye, and they'll dye the lint the color of their hair to cover it up. So these are just things that you should consider, that you should know. So what I would do is, two things that I would suggest for you is kind of like a brush like this. I use this brush, and then at night I just kind of take my hair gently. You're not brushing rough, but just kind of take the ends of your hair and just gently brush the ends of your hair like this. And I got this tip actually from, her name is, I think, Tanzania. I'll actually put her information down there as well so you can see her. She's a YouTuber, and she has great content about Sisterlocks. But just lightly brush the hair just to remove any excess dust particles, get rid of any lint that have gotten on there from your clothes. I just kind of like to go down just the shaft of my hair very gently, just to brush, just to kind of get rid of anything that may have gotten in your hair that you can't see. And then once I go through and kind of brush the ends and just go down the shaft of the hair, I'll just shake it out gently at night, just to make sure I've removed everything. And then I like to braid my hair at night after that, once I go through that routine. So that's just my process. So you will kind of have to figure out for yourselves what's going to work a little bit better for you. And the other thing that I like to do here is a dark colored t-shirt. So if you're washing your hair, don't use a towel, because once again, like those cotton towels, all that can get stuck into your hair, which once again is hard to get out if you don't catch it soon enough. And so it's just it's a mess. I was sitting in the mirror like a long time trying to get it out, and I could not get the lint out. So if you want to wash your hair, use a t-shirt, and that's a dark colored t-shirt. And then once you get finished washing your hair, dry your hair with a t-shirt like this, and then you don't have to worry about lint in your hair. So those are definitely two good tips that I didn't know about, and I'm glad that I found those out, and I can impart that information to you guys so you don't have to go through what I went through. And then also in the process, this is another tip that I learned, and this tip is going to be for ladies who work out a lot. Like I am a Zumba instructor, I'm a personal trainer, I'm a group fitness instructor as well. So I teach a lot of classes, and I do my own personal workouts. So imagine sometimes I could be doing 3 workouts a day, and it can be a lot, and I sweat like very bad in my hair. So trying to not excessively wash my hair and keep my scalp cleansed, it's a lot. So for those of you who work out, my tips would be for you, definitely braid your hair. I would take like a section of hair like here and braid my hair, and then I would put a cap on just to go work out as well. Sometimes I use a sweatband and pull it up in a ponytail up in the top and work out just to kind of catch some of the sweat. So those are things that you can do to help out with that. And then another thing that I like to use here is sea breeze to kind of help with my scalp, to keep it cleansed, and or witch hazel. And I use both of those just to kind of help with my scalp. And also in between washings, I like to spray rose water on my hair. This stuff smells really great. Now this is two different products. I use this first one here. It's organic. Now it is very strong, very potent. So I would use this and probably dilute it a little bit for me, or not spray as much because it's very strong. This one is not as strong, but it smells great, and I really like this. And I got both of these off of Amazon, so you can try those out and see which one you like. But I use those on my scalp to just kind of cleanse it, just refresh it, and do braid outs with for my hair during the week, or things like that. So definitely consider something like that for yourself as well. And the other thing that I would say is also to, like, trying to keep stuff like the rose water, so you don't, you're not putting oils and things in your hair that could cause product buildup, because like the lint, if you're using too much of those things, it gets stuck in the hair, and it is very hard to get out. I can't explain enough just the amount of time I spent trying to get that lint out of my hair, because it just looks so bad. So I hated it. I could not stand it, and so I had to get to the point where I just dyed it because I couldn't get it out. So that's why I'm just emphasizing that a lot, about making sure you brush your hair, shake it out, make sure you tie it up and put a bonnet on at night, so you don't have to deal with that. And then just using light products like rose water and things of that nature as well. Now, another thing that I would tell you too, of course, is with your locticians, don't be afraid to ask questions. And at first, definitely do what they tell you to do at the beginning stages, so you can get your head unlocked. But don't be afraid to ask questions about things that you don't understand, or why you're doing something, what needs to be done, because this is a big investment in your hair. So don't be afraid to ask, and make sure that you're getting full understanding. And another thing about locticians, because it is a big investment, don't be afraid to leave if you are not happy with your results, because you want to get what you pay for. You want your hair to look good, so you're not bound to any particular loctician just because you started with them. I know for us, a lot of time change is hard. We don't want to move to different style locticians. I get it, because we've been with them. But sometimes, if you're just not getting results that you want, it's okay. It's okay to switch. I'm just letting you know that it's okay. Find somebody that can really work on your hair and get it to where you need to be. And also, with that being said, of course, the way you do that, you may look at somebody on the street and see their hair and like, oh man, she has nice sister locks. Let me find out who did her locks. And you go over there, you talk to her, you get the name and number, and you set up an appointment. And my biggest thing is, just like in the loose natural community, the same thing applies here. Everybody's hair texture is different. You got hair length is different. The thickness of the hair is different. So if you're looking at somebody's hair, that her hair may not look like your hair, because everything is different. It doesn't mean that your locks aren't beautiful. It just means that their hair is going to look different, because you're two different people with two totally different genetics and makeup. So just understand that. You can have a hair crush, but just remember that they're going to be it could just be some differences just based off of you guys' hair texture. And it doesn't mean that your hair doesn't look good, because I just haven't seen any bad sister locks, but they are different just because of the hair textures and the densities and things of that nature. So just be mindful and aware of that as well. Now, the reason why I told you at the beginning about knowing your rotation, and I'm saying that because it's important now more than ever to know your rotation, as well as you should know how to do your own hair. Doesn't mean that you're going to always have to do your hair, because a lot of people, this is a very tedious process. As you can see, these are very tiny, and it takes a lot of work, a lot of time, a lot of energy, and a lot of effort. So you may not ever want to do your hair, but the thing that I'm finding out now is talking to a lot of people, you don't know how to do your hair, or we don't know how to do our hair. And so now we're in the process of trying to figure out what are we going to do. And now we're in a quarantine, and you can't get to a loctician to get your hair done. So a lot of people, you're left kind of stuck. So that's why I said at the beginning, it's important to know what your rotation is, and then it's important to learn how to do your own hair, which they're going to start offering online classes, so you learn how to retie your own hair, because we don't know how long the quarantine is gonna last, and you need to know how to do your own hair, have that empowerment to take that kind of control in your hands. Now, like I said, this is a very tedious process, so a lot of people, I'm sure, are gonna go back to their locticians because this is a lot of work. But until then, I would want to know how to do my own hair. So find out up front what your rotation is, and then take the class so you know how to do your own hair in the event like today of this quarantine that we're in. You may have to do that. So that's another thing that you should do, be able to take in your hands. Now, my last thing that I would say for you guys is also with the hair is the shampoo. Now, here are the two that I have that I started out with when I first got started. It's the Sisterlocks shampoo. I started out with the starter kit one, and then I ended up switching to the green tea shampoo. And the reason was, which a lot of people say, they have a hard time with the Sisterlocks shampoo. It didn't work that well for me. This one did work a little bit better. The green tea on my scalp, it did help out a little bit more. But one of the things that I do like is here, the Dr. Bonner's. It's like a multi-use shampoo for me. You can use it for a lot of different things, but I use it for shampoo, and I got the peppermint blend, and I do dilute it so I can put it on my hair. But I like this, and a lot of people in the Sisterlock community like this as well. So just some things to consider as far as what you're going to use on your hair. And the last thing is as you go into the process of course, like I said, the beginning stage, you need to follow the rules. You need to listen to what you should do. As your hair begins to lock, like mine, I'm pretty much fully locked. There may be things that you can do differently with your hair. You can have a little bit more freedom that you couldn't quite have before. And for me, I am finding out that I do need to have a little bit of oil on my scalp. I use something light like coconut oil. And this is what I like to use. It's just a organic blend, but this is what I like to use on my scalp. And I need that because, once again, I work out a lot, I sweat a lot. My scalp is, especially in the wintertime, the summertime I'm okay, but the wintertime it gets very, very, very dry. And so I do need a little extra something on my scalp, and just kind of take it and just rub it a little bit through my locks, and not a lot, because you don't want to get product buildup, because it begins to get the same way as the lint. It gets embedded into the locks and it looks really bad. So research all those things so you can see how product buildup looks in the locks, how lint looks in the locks when it's in there, so you can really make sure that you are very careful to how you wash your hair, what you're putting in your hair, so you don't have to deal with these things, because it makes a huge difference. Now, last two things before I go, so you guys can say like, wow, why should I get Sisterlocks after all of this? Like I said earlier, even with all these things, these are just things that I wish someone had told me up front, so I could have been better prepared for where I am now. But it is still the best decision I have ever made in my life. I wouldn't take it back at all, even with some of the things that I've had to deal with. But one of the examples that I would give you is that, saying before, like I am a Zumba instructor. And we have a Zumba conference every year in Orlando, Florida. And I got my Sisterlocks done 2018 on a Tuesday. The Zumba conference was that Wednesday. I went to the conference, had never put my head in water, like it had been years. And I decided with my friends, like, I'm going to go swimming. Put my hair in the water and swam for 2 hours. It was the most freeing and most beautiful thing I had experienced in a long time, that I could just go in the water and just not have to worry about hair and shrinkage and how am I going to do it once it's done. Like, it's going to, normally with my loose hair, it would take me hours, but I was able to go swim. I went back to the room, washed the chlorine. Well, I didn't wash my hair. I just rinsed the chlorine out of my hair, and then put my hair in a nice updo. Took me all of 20 minutes. And then I was out the door with my friends, and we went to a nice gathering afterwards. So, first example. And then the second example was, I went out with a guy. We were at the park and we were talking, getting to know each other, and it began to pour down raining. And I remember he looked at me and was like, oh man, we're gonna have to hurry and run to get to the car because of your hair. And guys, let me tell you, it was the most amazing thing to have to say, like, you know what? I don't have to run. I'm fine. My hair is going to be fine. I don't have any problem. And it was just like this. And I was able to just walk to the car. I was more concerned about my clothes getting wet than I was about my hair. And we all know, like, with natural hair, it's serious. You are very concerned about your hair getting wet, especially if you're on a date, because the date would be over. Like, we are not having any more dates. I'm going to my car. We're done. And so it was just a great thing to just be able to walk to the car and get in and not have to worry about my hair. And for him to turn and look at me and was like, man, your hair is so beautiful. So ladies, let me tell you, if you are considering Sisterlocks, it is a life-changing decision. It is one of the best decisions I've ever made. There is some expense up front, as I've told you before, but I would not change this decision for the world. So if you guys have any questions for me, any comments, any suggestions that you would like, be nice. Be nice, though. I am definitely here to take constructive criticism, or if there are any questions that you have that you want me to answer, I'm here for it. And I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I will see you next time. Bye.